Hello everybody, so this video is entitled MSTR, Unstoppable Orange, Unstoppable Saylor. As you'll see, we may be headed into a tough week next week. So what do we know? Well, Saylor just won't stop. He just keeps buying the Bitcoin. You saw, was it on Thursday or Friday, he tweeted also this, thinking about buying more Bitcoin. Now he's talking about being unstoppable orange. He is scooping all of the Bitcoin. I am not sure there will be much Bitcoin left. It's a joke. Of course, there will be Bitcoin left, but not at that price, not under 100K. We are living in a moment where Bitcoin is very cheap, in my view. And this is as the FUD intensifies, by the way. The FUD from 10 years ago is making a comeback. And Saylor retweeted about this FUD, talking, this is exactly one of the interviews from Davos where I made a video. I made a video yesterday about, there were two specific, very appalling interview, there's no other way to say it, at Davos. And a lot of people follow these interviews, so the FUD is spreading. And of course that was one of them, with a central bank governor here. The take is, I trust independent central banks more than issuers of Bitcoins, right? That's what we had said. I didn't comment that in my video. I commented about the more egregious comments, like they said things like, oh, there will be tanks and countries will ban Bitcoin. That was one of their takes. Private money is not scarce like fiat currency. They actually said fiat currency was scarce and private money was not scarce, even though we don't know how much fiat currency there is. They can't even have an accurate count of how many dollars exist, and when they tell you it's scarce. Stable coins are bad for a climate, not understanding the difference between proof of work and proof of stake, and then talking about how banks should pay 0% interest rate on checking account deposits because that's what you need to do for financial stability. As if you couldn't pay 4% or like the level of the bonds on checking account deposit. This is ridiculous. But anyways, I digress. Are we entering a week with more Bitcoin FUD? I have seen some old tweets resurface. You can see a very good take about the South African central bank. I'm a joke. It's not a very good take. This clip where he's talking about a beef reserve and a mutton reserve. Apparently a mutton reserve would be a good idea. Oh my gosh, it's so crazy. And I've seen those too. Maybe those will resurface as well when the Financial Times, right, another elite publications, the Financial Times, where one of their reporters had compared Bitcoin to teeth and talking about how her teeth were scarce. You may remember that. So we may go into another week of FUD. So let's stay strong is all I'm going to say. So how much of a buy? How much of a buy can we expect to be announced tomorrow? Well, unfortunately, in my view, it's not going to be the best buy because we kind of had a gray swan in the market. And so of course, Bitcoin was down, strategy was down, and we depegged on stretch. We're not at 100. We're not trading on par with stretch. And that's all, of course, because of the Greenland tariff fear and the whole tariff tantrum, tit for tat between the EU and the President of the United States. So it hurt Bitcoin last week, and those fears, those tariffs, I call it a gray swan. Maybe it was more like a gray swan, not exactly a black swan last week, because we had a turnaround so quick. But just like for 1010, Bitcoin unfortunately is elevator down, stairs back up, and the elevator may still be going down this week, unfortunately. And the reason why I say that is because look at a little bit of the big events we have coming up. Like unfortunate things are gonna happen next week that could hurt the market in the short term, in my view. I think there's gonna be volatility this upcoming week, right? Starting tomorrow. We of course have now Canada tariff tantrums that are back. I made a video about this yesterday. Scott Bessent calling for Alberta to join the United States. Trump calling Carney a governor again. Trump threatening 100% tariff. So we have Canada tariff tantrums. Because of the Minneapolis events, I don't know if you saw that this weekend, but and I don't discuss that on this channel, of course, but I discuss the consequences for the market. It seems like a lot of politicians are going to want to shut down the government over what happened in Minneapolis this weekend. So if they shut down the government, it's very unfortunate because the markets were predicting no shutdown. It was looking good until this weekend. It was looking good, and now we spiked. And now whether it's Calci or Polymarket, they are now both saying, 80-ish% chance of a shutdown. This may actually increase. So if there is a shutdown, this is hit or miss. I've witnessed that the last time we had a shutdown, it wasn't that bad, but sometimes it's bad. So I don't really know, but that's more uncertainty for sure. Then we have the Fed speech, right? So the usual Wednesdays where when the Fed speaks, we just go down until 1 p.m. and then sometimes he utters words that are okay, sometimes he utters words that are wrong. Anyways, it's geriatrics essentially. That's what moves the market on Wednesdays each month. For the past 4 years, 5 years, I can't even remember, at least 5 years now. And lastly, we have the GJB issues with the Japanese bonds and Takeshi talking about taking action against speculators. So you can see a lot of opportunities for volatility this week. And whenever there is volatility, whenever there is uncertainty, we know Bitcoin is the easiest thing to take a hit. We know Bitcoin is hurt a lot by all of this stuff, and therefore Saylor is going to be, probably impacted too. So I'm hoping I'm very wrong, but right now it's not looking too good for Monday Open. So let's stay strong. We're going to be okay over the very long run. We just got to look at the long run. Remember what Saylor says and what I'm saying now for strategy and for most stocks. If you don't want to be in the stock for 5 years, you should not own it a minute. And this is so true of the 2020s. Investing in the 2020s is not for the faint of heart. This was not investment advice. This is not financial advice. This is only entertainment. I'm hoping you're entertained. Please like, please subscribe, follow me on Patreon, follow me on X. Thank you for watching, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.